I didn't even want to wait for a setup. That is such an excellent perspective. The uncommon serrated point. Now, I've seen across the country and heard a lot of great comments. We're going to get into these points, just a few, just a baker's dozen or so. And we're going to get into these points because I've heard, across the country, if I can get this focus working, that, and I've seen the flint, that this serration quality is uncommon. And so I've learned it is now, and I'm new, as many of you know here on Indian Trace. I mean, look at that group. But that's about the fullness of the group when it comes to different materials. If I can see if this focus is working, it doesn't seem to be cooperating with me. I don't know why it's not working. There we go. I'm sorry. Okay. I have to take my time for the focus to work. That's about the majority. Now, I do have serrated points, and you can see right here, look at this, look at the natural light. You want to talk about a fantastic collection. Not that I have done anything to merit it. I mean, I just do the work and move forward. What you're taking a look at, if you're new, is the way I keep them organized. There is more space in here than you think. The serrated points all came out of this right here. All of them came out of here. And there's a couple more in here. They're beautiful, they're great. I'm going to leave those there for today. Some great stuff down in there. But it's funny because all the points that you see up here that we're going to take a look at, and worth it. If you love the North American Indian and you love artifacts, you'll like this. If you love serrated points, you're going to like it even more. Because I'm going to highlight the uncommon serrated point. Only now, after 5 years, as we begin, do I really even understand that they're uncommon? I mean, I do find them in quartz and in sugar quartz. But in terms of how fine and refined the flint is all over the country, they don't make them serrated. They make their flint points with smooth, fine edges. These serrated points must have just torn in and done something great. Great point right here. Found fairly recently. That's a great point. Found that at Mecca. So I'm just going to leave that one right there. Give you guys a good look at this stuff. And as I said, I do find them. And I'm just going to reach in here and take some. This is one of the earliest points that I found. A bifurcated point. I've actually loved this. It's a little beat up here and there. You can see a couple nicks, but that's not what makes a great artifact. Both rarity, how often you find a certain style, makes a big difference in what the point means to you. This is a really fantastic point just because I've never found a point like it. I always think I'm going to find its brother or sister if I get out there. And I expect that when I go into the area where I found it, but I haven't. I don't know how I'm going to organize these, but I'll show you as we go along why they're particularly special or important as I sail through some of these. Funny thing is, just the first three here, including this one, I found them all in the same areas. Look at this. My word. This is a unique point. Found at B&B Field, same as this black one here right behind it. My hands are red. I went out, found pretty much nothing today. I'm waiting on the rain. That's why I'm making some display videos for you to give you a good idea of what some of these look like that are what I consider my finest pieces in this style. Take a little time with it. Look at the relief on that base, will you? Take a look at this if I can get the right angle. That's fantastic. So I put that there. All of these were found in Site 5 right here. And I found a lot of points in St. 5. I mean, come on. What a great lineup. Now we're sort of going biggest to smallest, so another one from Site 5, I just go ahead and grab it. Look at this point. Serrations. That's what we're focusing on today. Let me share this. Serrations do come in fairly common on sugar quartz, which if you're interested, I'd be happy to show you. Comes out better on this background right here. And so I will maybe feature the sugar quartz serrations. They don't come in close to as uncommon on these variated materials. So put that right there as we sing around and keep taking a look at these things and just hear some things about how they're found. All right, the next one, in terms of size. This one came from a completely different area. Look at the cortex, and this has been seen. This is particularly unique because, I mean, it's got a stinging tip, and this is not broken. Take a close look at this. Are you ready? Some have seen it. They may have great memory when it comes to artifacts. That's cortex. That's the cortex of the rock. They took this rock and made it what they needed to be. Unbelievable piece, though. If you take a look at it there. Talk about it, right? Fantastic. Fantastic stuff. That was from the archaic. And look at that piece. How does that survive? Looking strong at the archaic period with these points. I mean, look at this, which is fine with me. We got a couple ones that I found recently. You saw this. Look at this wicked serrations. And the small things. And this is not a drill. I saw a penetration test. Maybe even the person who did that with their bow is watching. And it was fantastic because it showed that these pieces of this is not coming in. There we go. It showed that these pieces that are serrated definitely rip and penetrate better than smooth-edged points. It's unbelievable. I mean, it was a live test on a deer carcass, and it was just clear as day. That's awesome point. I don't think I had anything comparable on the other side that I can look at. Maybe we'll take a look at this anyway. Opening sands point. The slightest little serrations on this one, not the big heavy stuff, but just quality points. Those of you who are wondering, this one is ground heavy. I've got a couple here that are ground heavy on the bottom. To me, hey, it's just what they did, missing a little teeny bit off the air, I think, but that doesn't matter at all. Fantastic point altogether. Just fun to get these out of here, out and take a look at them, and just to share my heart and put a little bit of a setup just so we can take a look at it. Better in a museum, you know? Sort of like the museum series I used to do. Look at these pieces, will you? I mean, which one do you grab next, right? I'll show you a neat point. I found this calendar year, but this piece, man, focus. There we go. This piece is super unique. It's very nice and solid and heavy. It's slightly beveled, but the interesting point, it is missing a little air. That's okay. It's heavily, don't know if we can get it, it's heavily ground. This might speak a language to some of you more than others. Not to me, that's for sure. I'm just telling you what it is. And you guys will know more than me. You study rocks and point types and sort of things like that. All I know is it's an ancient Indian hunting point. And to me, that's just absolutely fine. Love it. Another one that complements is this one from W Properties. Unique point. It's actually a snap base. Not ground, not anything. I mean, check that out. It is clear that this base was just snapped. It was fine for them. What an interesting point, huh? As some of you argue and understand because you're nappers, these tangs right here, Rob says that that's because they resharpened it a lot. Could have been. Could have been. It could have been a much bigger point. So be it. So be it. So my time runs along. This is what we're looking at so far. I mean, look at that group. I have to be deliberate here because I'm learning this new phone. Looking at my time. Okay, let's get rolling here. I got a couple smaller points, but look at this piece from the archaic as well. It's not focusing. There we go. This is an incredible and unique point. Uncommon serrations. Perfect natural light. Not a thing wrong with this. It's an absolute G10. Unique point. And that penetration test for sure applies to this. I saw these little points that are serrated, how much more they rip through the game that they were after. It's amazing. I'm sure it was easy for them just to figure out. Easy for them to figure out. And I'm sure they knew. For eons of time, they knew. This is one of the first serrated rhyolite points I found at Beaver Point. I mean, almost 4 years ago, 5 years ago. I've only been collecting 5 years. Look at this thing. And that's a little bit of time when I hear from some of you guys who collect. This was great, though. Found it in the tobacco, I remember. Found a great drill that day, too, but that's just a thing of beauty. You know, I was just over the moon finding that. I didn't even know what to expect in the years to come, but now, now I do to a degree. Last two awesome points. Bear with me if you like serrated stuff. They're uncommon here, but you do find them, and this is as good as I can pull out for you. Look at this piece here, found at Hidden Hill, and look at the relief going up the side of this thing. There we go. See with the shade. This was found live. A lot of these were found live, and you might have seen it on film if you go back in time. But what I realized is many people who tune in do not go back in time with all the videos that are made. I've tried to cover everybody's history and find out where they come from, what they found in the past. It just doesn't happen in today's day and age as much. It just doesn't. But I guess that has to do with the fact that I definitely want to study out, you know, where people are coming from. That's an incredible point, isn't it? If you get this wet, this is a really green rhyolite. But that's just an incredible point. Great balance on that point. Leave that guy right there. Look at these things, though. All the different angles with points. Just a little trip to the museum here at Indian Trace. And look at this point. Found at the Bear. The Bear 1, I should say. This was found almost in the footsteps of that atlatl, the banner stone that I had, the whole one, which we think might be jade. It's an incredible piece. Just type in Indian Trace atlatl or banner stone, and it should come up, that video, if you're new or if you haven't tuned in here that much. This is an incredible point to me. It has its unique qualities. I mean, look at these. So just a little bit of a day of appreciation for the North American Indian and support. Even today, in today's modern world, how much trouble and unfortunate aggravations they're having across the country. I guess prayer is the only thing, or a lot of troubles in the country. But prayer is the key. Let's keep supporting everybody. Step away from violence and have discussions about what would be the best choice for people and for freedom. And out of all these, I just wanted to show you a good baker's dozen, or more or less, because these are awesome serrated points. For all you out there that absolutely love the North American Indian and their artifacts, appreciate you tuning in to Indian Trace. I doubt I could even pick a favorite out of these groups. So I think I'll probably leave it at that. But I appreciate you tuning in to Indian Trace. And that right there, that's Indian Trace. Be well out there.